Hey guys, some gamer dude here. Today is probably the hardest in the series because going into it, I don't think there is much comparison between Legion and other mechanics. I also know how diverse the Legion mechanic is, because those who like it say it's their favourite mechanic, while those who dislike it, well, they don't dislike it as much as they dislike Break Ride, but it's pretty far down there. I guess I should put my own biases on the table for transparency. I don't feel anything anymore. I loved it when it came out. This was after getting very tired of Break Ride. When I quit Vanguard, I reflected poorly on Legion because a lot of effects were allowed to go out of control, and this led into the G era, which I didn't like. Recently I dug out the old decks and played the Legion format again for the first time in years, and I'm indifferent. My friend who swore by Legion up and down said it's fun to swing a Legion, but not to have one swung at you. Sounds about right. But was it broken? As I said, Legion is hard to get a good grasp on because it's unlike anything else. Where Limit Break is a damage threshold that effectively gives you a free CB2 a turn in the form of making an effect cheaper, Legion is an action that puts your Vanguard into another state. Legion is so strange for this game. Let's break it down. If your opponent is also at grade 3, once and only once with that grade 3, you may put 4 cards from your discard pile into your deck to search your deck for a specified card and have it also inhabit the Vanguard circle. This card provides its skills as well as its power while attacking, but not its critical to your Vanguard. Your Vanguard is now considered to be in Legion. How do you really compare that to anything? It's not a discard, Soul Blast or Counter Blast, things used in this game prior to Legion and post-Legion as costs. It's not a threshold in the same way Limit Break was. Legion is entirely contained to itself. Your opponent can control Legion to a certain degree with decks that sit on grade 1 or 2, but you also have to essentially pay into it by early guarding, as well as get to that 4 cards in the discard threshold. Could Legion be considered a reward for a -4 your opponent has some control over? I guess that's one way of looking at it, but normally, that -4 is also preventing damage, staving off a loss. It's not really a -4 in terms of payment for Legion directly. Legion is a state that can only be gained if 2 other conditions are met. If you look at it that way, are 2 conditions worth another Vanguard and a new state for the Vanguard to be in? I guess. It has no real connection to anything else. It can do whatever Bushiroad's developers make it do. So let's take this in a different direction. We've been looking at this from a strictly analytical perspective. So what about an anecdotal one? Does Legion feel broken? That's a hard question, and I think like many people, I just took Legion at face value and accepted Legion gave your Vanguard a permanent 9,000 to 11,000 offensive buff as well as additional skills. That buff was a hefty increase and generally equated to a permanent Break Ride. One also has to take into consideration that one of the conditions of Legion, the shuffling of 4 cards into the deck, actually increases the chance of hitting a trigger and allows the reuse of triggers. This also has a huge impact upon the game and can extend it artificially by putting heal triggers back into the deck. While it's very hard to calculate how much impact this has upon the game due to so many variances, if you for argument's sake just check out how likely you are to hit a trigger if you had 20 triggers, it's just short of Triple Drive's chance of hitting a trigger. You can just ride grade 3 upon grade 3 and Legion each time, shoving more and more triggers into the deck. Legion has a profound impact upon the game, but was it broken? It instantly superannuated most every Limit Break card that wasn't a Break Ride by direct power creep. One of the conditions of attaining Legion wasn't so much a restriction as it was a positive that directly affected the game. It doesn't really fit into the paradigms of the game. This actually fits into the general concept of what broken is. It gives excessive advantage that defines the competitive metagame in a negative or imbalanced manner, as nothing prior to it was remotely playable after its release. Legion was even left a loophole that caused a long since forgotten garbage card to become a considerable problem. Legion was broken, but with an asterisk. Legion was broken compared to everything before it, but Legion's own self-contained format was fine with some restrictions for balance and arguably very enjoyable. This is why it has so many people that state it to be their favourite format. The Legion mechanic promoted early guarding and the player had more control over it versus Limit Break, where it can just be prevented by the opponent threatening strengthening at 3 damage with the chance of hitting a double critical or with built-in criticals. This gave Legion an air of both speed closer to block 1 and tactical play about it, but with far more dynamic gameplay. Likewise, I think there is something psychologically satisfying about the Legion mechanic and having 2 Vanguards. Legion didn't ruin Vanguard. As soon as its issues were patched with a rules change and a card restriction, everything fell into place. Yes, it superannuated most of the card pool, but it was designed in such a way that it could be backwards compatible, and the power level of Legion was both not fast enough to generally be a problem, nor was it so oppressive that the game couldn't bear its weight. It just pushed the boundaries rather hard. But no.